Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Quiz. Today we are at the next topic, that is the mating attack explained. We are at the 14th position of our topic. We have got this position with black to play, and we look at the position and we know that the white king is not well placed. In fact, it has no place to move. So if we use our concept, what we have been discussing so far, finding the first move will not be that difficult. So let's find some moves first. We have got the obvious check, queen e3 check, which looks impossible at first, but we see that the e3 square is weak. Number of attackers are 3 and defenders are only 2. So queen e3 check is one of the most obvious moves. It not only fulfills the concept of attack and support, it also fulfills the concept of sacrifice check, where when the king has no place to move, the check, which also is sacrifice, can be very effective. So queen e3 check is the one where black investigated and he got success in that line. So queen e3, knight e3 forced. Now comes fe3, most obvious, and here we see white has two variations, ke2 and kc2. kc2 instantly loses because the king finds itself on the bishop's diagonal, and knight 3 b4 we can see is a double check. King can't move to b1 because of the bishop, and similarly knight e1 we can see it's also a double check. Both lead to mate. King can't go to b3 because of the pawn on c4. King can't go back to d2 because of the pawn on e3, and it's a double check, so the knight cannot be taken neither on b4 nor on the e1 square. Let's play the moves quickly and see. Queen e3, knight e3, fe3 check, and after ke1, knight 3 b4 check, or knight e1. Both lead to instant checkmate. After the most obvious and forced move for white, that is queen e3, knight e3, fe3, ke2, most logical is to use the knight 5 to f4. The knight d3 is already closed, but the trouble is once the king takes e3, then after even knight g2 check, the king can escape from the d4 square, and mating the king won't be possible. So black has to look at knight 3 f4 check when e3 is nicely guarded, and we are forcing the white king to retreat to e1. Most people or most of my students are able to see till here very easily, but when the king goes to e1, many miss both the checks. One is knight d3 check and the second is knight g2 check. After knight d3, white can just give up the rook by rook d3 when there is no instant mate, and the game can be little bit better for white maybe. Two pawns are very strong, but white can sacrifice one of his piece for at least one of the pawn, and he can survive. But after ke1, there is knight g2 check, when we see that the king has to come to e2 only, and now the g2 knight manages to protect the e3 pawn, so the d5 knight is free, and knight df4 leads to a picturesque position, we can say, and it's a checkmate. Let's play the moves and see. Queen e3, knight e3, fe3, k e2, knight 3 f4 check, keeping the e3 pawn protected, forced ke1, knight takes g2 check, king e2, and knight 5 f4, and we see that all the squares are guarded, d2 and f2 by the e3 pawn, e1 by the knight, and d3 by bishop, knight, and the c4 pawn, and white is checkmated. Although the position was not that difficult, I thought it fulfilled both the concepts of the sacrifice check and proper counting of attacks and supports in the position. I hope you will find the position useful. Do like, share, and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.